If you don't build up to that, you'll have a problem getting a BER later on, which means you can't sell your home. There are grants for retrofits. Better Energy Homes is a grant scheme for you to upgrade your homes. It does attic wall insulation, solar heating, heat systems, renewable technologies as well. The application process is online. We're very IT in our place, so it's all online should you wish to make an application. They are the values of the grants that are available. I won't go through them. They're available on our website. I invite you to go and have a look at them should you wish, should you be interested. The value of the grant differs with the technology that you would choose. As some of them would be quite intensive, such as externally cladding a detached house, which is what the Austrians would typically do on a retrofit. So we are up at that level. Just a brief note on those grants. I'll just step back quickly. I am aware that Minister White, will be making an announcement on the grant amounts. Obviously, it's an election year, so I doubt it's bad news. Okay, the Warmer Home Scheme is a scheme that I run day to day in SEAI. The Warmer Home Scheme, believe it or not, is absolutely, completely free. Now, there are obviously some, it's not free to everybody. There are qualifying criteria. If you had fuel allowance, if you have family income support, if you're unemployed for over 6 months with children under 7, and you own your home, SEAI will come in and insulate your home for free. The Communities Project is what Joanne asked me to speak to you today about. So I'm going to run through some slides. This is not my program, but I do sit on the panel which adjudicates on which projects will be scored projects, and that usually decides what projects are deemed to be acceptable or rejected. Okay, this year there's €12 million in funding available. It is a competitive process, so not every project will be funded, so you need to be aware of that. We do want to test new technology, and we do like innovative approaches. Innovation can be absolutely anything. It can be the structure of the consortium, it can be the financing model, or it can be the technology, the renewable technology. We're looking for high quality, energy efficient improvements, and we want it in the Irish context. Just some notes on the scheme. This year we're running at an early launch. Typically the scheme will be launched in April. It's actually launched last month. There are pre-application reviews. Like most other organisations which have a grant and send you out a form, SEAI will actually invite you in to talk to you, or you can make an appointment to come in and see one of our programme managers, talk about your project, get direction from SEAI, and we will work with you. We run clinics for successful applications, so people who have a grant from us, who have never dealt with us before, we will invite you in to discuss how best to proceed with delivering the project. We are looking to get energy savings to the wider community. What is a community? A community is, it could be a business, it can be a public building, it could be absolutely anything. It is the community in general, okay? We're looking for new delivery models. So typically we have done, this is the slide for last year, 98 projects, 4,000 homes. Now we also did the likes of the GAA came to us with a project, and they did multiple projects around the town where they had, or not just this town, around the country, where they had a large retailer on board with them. The upgrades were obviously not the pitches. We did the clubhouses for hot water. The retailer paid the GAA some branding. We supported the energy efficiency measures and that type of project. The other type of projects that we supported was, there was one project where we supported an electric bus for Meals on Wheels. Okay, so it's a we've also supported a community home, a house, where kids went in after school to do homework. Okay, that's the type of community thing it can be. It can also be, we did a project with 1,000 homes down in Tipperary, 1.3 million. The size of the project is irrelevant to us. Obviously, we don't want just 4 or 5 projects. with 2, 3, 4 million euro. We're looking for any type of project, any type of innovation. Projects can be from 30 grand up to 1.3 million-ish. I'll briefly walk through the application process. Like most organisations or government organisations, we think we have a slick system, but actually dealing with SEAI can be a little bit tricky. We are open to bringing people in to discuss the processes and systems, but just I want to make you aware of what happens. As I've said, the programme is launched last month. So if you're thinking of a project today, you're a little bit late, but this time next year, if you have a project in mind, this time next year is when you should be, or before now, coming to talk to SEAI. The closing date will be the 20th of March, after which SEAI will go off and adjudicate on all the projects. So January, February of next year, even before January, February of next year, you should be coming in to talk to SEAI about a possible project, which could be homes, buildings, hotels, for example. The hotel might decide that they want to run a project. Projects must be completed by October. That is the one thing, because we have to spend the money within the year. The projects must be completed. So they are time-bound, the projects. They're not like European projects which can slide. So what measures are supported? Typically building fabric upgrades. So let's take this hotel. They might decide that they want to put in a biocycle or a heat pump system to heat the pool, or they might decide to change all the lighting. That's the type of upgrade we're looking for. Systems upgrades, so they might put in heating controls or lighting controls in this building, for example. Monitoring and control of systems, so you might have an intelligent system that controls the timing with the temperatures outside, that type of intelligent system. Integration of renewable energy sources. So we don't just want to put a biocycle system outside or a heat system outside. It needs to be integrated in some way that it's intelligent. Funding levels. So what can you expect from a grant process from SEAI? If you have an energy poor homes project, up to 100% can be fully funded. So the qualifying criteria for the fuel poor, energy poor, are the same as the warmer homes qualifying criteria, which is fuel allowance, family income support, unemployed over 6 months with children under 7. If they're local authority owned, the grant level is 50%. For voids, for county councils looking to do energy upgrades to voids, it's 30%. For not-for-profit community organisations, up to 50%, depending on the project. Private sector, so the hotel here, could expect a grant up to 30%. Public sector, so if Letterkenny County Council decide to upgrade, or Donegal County Council decide to upgrade their buildings, 30%. Exemplar projects, we may go higher than 30%. So if the county council decided to build a wind turbine to fuel their building for their energy demands, that might be innovative, and we might decide to give that more than 30%. It's important that we get a balance of funding. So SEAI is looking for the commercial, private sector organisations to have a level of funding. SEAI is prepared to put in a level of funding. And ideally, we would look for a partner, an obligated party, which is the ESB or one of the large energy users who are mandated to buy energy credits. We would put you in partnership with those to drive some level of funding from that to sell the kilowatt hours that you might save. Again, if you have a project and you may not have that type of partner on board, SEAI will organise a partner for you. So we will bring parties into a room and say, here's 10 projects, don't have an energy partner, and they would like funding, and SEAI will organise funding from the obligated parties for you. Domestic projects. If you're going to do domestic projects, you need to operate to the SEAI Code of Practice and Building Regulations. It must be the optimal solution. So in other words, if you go into a very badly built home, it may require either dry lining or external. If you decide to do just the basic measures, that's not the optimal solution for that building. We want the optimal solution for every building, which does mean that in some buildings you might spend €2,000 to €3,000. Other buildings you may have to spend 40. That's what we want you to do. We want you to spend the 40. The hard to reach homes are the 40,000 homes, and this type of grant scheme is aimed at trying to hit those hard to get to homes. There's a minimum BER that must be required, that is required to get to. D1 is what we want to be at after the works have been done. You are required to do a BER, a sample BER before. So if it's only one building you would be doing, you would have to do a pre-BER. If you're doing, say, 100 homes, we would expect you to do a sample 5, 6, 7. Energy poor homes, as I've said, qualifying criteria are exactly the same as the Better Energy Warmer Home Scheme. Public sector projects. The public sector are mandated to obtain energy savings. Now, given that there's no money, that's going to be a challenge, obviously. Public sector is Garda stations, hospitals, the county council buildings, SEAI's own building. SEAI's own building is a very old building, the one in Dublin. It was, when we went into it, we actually retrofitted the entire lighting system on our floor. The landlord is going to retrofit the rest of the building to that standard because he's very happy with the results that he's getting. So it's public sector can be absolutely any sort of public building, be it a pool, school, any of these type of buildings. Okay, we're having a bit of it. We are looking for small business to get involved in these projects. We are looking for small business to come, small, medium-sized businesses to come to us. No, we deal with the ESB, they're large. We deal with Dimplex. Again, they're one of the largest electrical manufacturers in Europe, based in Dunleer and Dundalk. But we are looking for the smaller organisations. If you have projects, come in and talk to us. There may be projects that you may be interested in delivering that may qualify for grant. We're there to help you. So please bring your projects in. Doesn't matter how big or small it is, we're interested in talking to people. If you have a project and you don't have other partners involved, we're certainly there to help you get through. So what projects do we not consider? Projects that don't have a community benefit. So trying to think of a project that wouldn't have a community benefit. The pub across the road, there's no real community benefit to the pub across the road because it doesn't really service the entire community. Single element projects, so the likes of the hotel here, or let's say the pub across the road, just doing lighting. There's no real innovation in that. Lighting has been done and tried before. We would like a number of items to be done. So if the lighting was incorporated into a monitoring system or some sort of intelligent grid connection, that would be more innovative for us. Renewables only, again, if you only have a renewable project, I would say put it in anyway. You never know. It might be good enough as it stands in its own. But typically, renewable projects on their own, we would look for something different. We don't want just auditing and monitoring projects. They're not, we have enough data on what the issues are within the Irish market. So we're looking for more than just auditing and monitoring projects. So when we're sitting on the panel, this is what we're looking for. Value for money is 25 marks out of 100. So it's important, but it's not critical. The partnership. So again, we're looking for a good quality partner lead in the project. So typically a lead might be the county council or some other organisation, significant size. Again, if you don't have partners, SEAI will organise partners for you. Innovation is critically important. It's 25 marks again. Innovation is really what we're looking for in this project. So if you're coming to us to do 100 homes, attic and cavity, there's no real innovation in that because we're doing that. So why would we give a high score here? So you need to think of doing something slightly different. It only has to be slightly different to be more innovative. Maybe it's the type of person you're looking for. Maybe it's the community that you're working for. For example, we've done a traveller site. Okay, quality and delivery. For quality and delivery, what we would be looking for here is the quality of the organisation that will be delivering the project. So clearly, very small organisations would need to demonstrate clearly on the application process that they've done something similar before. So if you wanted to come in and to us with 100 homes, we'd like to see other projects of which you have done to that size. So don't come in and say, I'm going to do 100 homes if you've only ever done 5. Okay, there are supports available for people interested in this, in these grant schemes. We have guides up on our website, the draft application forms, we have technical workbooks, we have frequently asked questions. Again, this program is online, so when you make an application, you make an application online. There's a whole IT process behind this. We do have what they call a PEP user guide. The PEP is the system we use to take the applications. A bit like European funding, it can be a bit of a minefield if you don't understand it. Again, we're there to help. If you ring us, we will certainly provide help over the phone for you. Technical information that would need to be submitted is obviously the application form, technical workbooks. So you don't just say we're going to do homes, you tell us exactly what you're going to do in the homes, exactly the kilowatt hours that you're going to save, and we look for technical details of the works, type of construction, all that type of thing to be detailed on the application. What costs can you get back? Okay, you can get project management costs, okay, so for your time, external labour costs, and the costs of the equipment. VAT also can be reclaimed if you're not in a position to reclaim VAT. Additional costs can be claimed if they're exceptional items. For example, you might have to do an environmental study on a project, and we can consider that. Okay, it's important that you understand what costs can't be claimed. There's a list of them there. There's a couple of slides now where we highlight the principal mistakes that people make with ineligible costs, as we would see them. So the first one is costs with preparing a submission. So any costs up to the point where you're actually only submitting a proposal to SEAI, I'm sorry, but you don't get those back. So the pre-BERs, you won't get those back. Internal staff costs, you won't get them back because they're very hard to justify and they're very hard to document, so you won't be allowed to get those back. Again, said costs incurred prior to grant approval. You should not do any works prior to grant approval. There's a website there and contact details if anybody's interested. As I say, the closing date is the 20th of March for that project. SEAI also runs sustainable energy communities. Okay, there are a number of communities who have come to us and said, well, we're interested in copying a project we did in Dundalk, where we led energy efficiency and a whole community-led drive to reduce the amount of energy that's been used in Dundalk town. Now, they had fabulous ideas about doing this. They were going to reduce it to carbon neutral nearly, clearly unsustainable. But look, the whole concept is there, and we now have people on board with SEAI who can support communities where they have an action plan. Okay, so who should be involved? Well, it actually requires the entire community, and actually probably needs to be led by either county council or somebody who has connection with all of the community. In Dundalk, we had the hospital, we had the schools, we had industry, we had everybody involved. We did spend in the region of €10 million, and we made some progress, but we certainly didn't do everything that we had hoped for. The piece in the middle is the balance between all the different things. You know, you've the management, you've technical, you've people, and then you've got to do the day-to-day living as well. So it's a very complicated process, but SEAI has considerable experience in doing this. And if anybody has a project such like RedNet, I would suggest you come in and talk to us. Declan Mealy, who's been named earlier in today, is running this project. So there are key people that need to be involved, as I said, actors, enablers, the innovation, collaboration with industry. There's a lot of people. Typically works particularly well where you have county council involvement and you have industry, be it large or small. The community is the second last phase, and I would suggest that RedNet here is probably at stage 3, where you're near developing a plan, and the next thing will be to decide what your plan is going to be, come into SEAI and see what funding is available and how we can assist you get over the line. That's it from me.